Hi, and
Hi.
welcome. Today, we are going to do a post Quail Mania 2, I guess debrief, because it wouldn't, or would it be a follow up?
I think debrief would be a good word.
I don't know, but we want all of our people that listen on the podcast that didn't get a chance to join to hear about it.
Yep,
So,
we've got the final results of how successful it was.
I
We
mean, I don't think we didn't break the website,
no.
but looking at the graph, it definitely got taxed. So,
We
tell us about that.
so Quail Mania 1 was one day and it was an experience. Quail Mania 2 was 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
We had 15 speakers and videos, 16 sponsors, 1,363 participants, and we did a live chat and it moved 4,800 messages, which I'm still perplexed about that. But that's what the thing said. So I'm going to go with it. But then I found like a little button off to the side that said people could do private chats off to the side. So I'm assuming there was some of that going on,
Oh,
maybe. And I didn't realize that.
I mean, there was a
Uh,
lot of activity in it.
there was.
I don't know
It's,
that there was that many thousands.
yeah.
But
But
people were like grouping together and having side conversations about stuff. That's good, right?
yeah, I mean, I didn't see it. It was fine with me.
Hope they learned. I mean, I hope they learned something. That was the point.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I mean, I got it. Quill Mania is going to stay up with the all access pass through May 31st to kind of get through breeding season. And you'll have access to all of that stuff for all of 2026. And if you missed it, you can always access it that way. But I think it was okay. We've already got people signing up to be speakers and sponsors for next year, but I need a little bit of a breather because
That's so
we're still kind
exciting.
of we're still wrapping up some stuff. We're still notifying people for the giveaways that we did, so we're kind of working through all of that, and we I need to decompress just a little bit because it's a lot. I mean, it took
It was just a
us,
couple of days ago.
yeah, like several months to put that together, like hours every day tweaking, making sure stuff
And
worked.
I mean, y'all, she is a person that, like, if her husband lost what time his clock said, then he could, like, twist it around to 9 and push the button for it to start when she went to bed. Because she's in bed by 9 every day.
Yeah,
And, like, I'm getting text messages from her at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And I'm like,
this is working. Thanks.
has somebody broken into her house and got her phone?
Oh my
Like,
God.
but, it was about Quail Mania stuff. But, I mean, she worked really hard on a lot of the stuff, putting it together. It turned out great. And I really do like the format. That million time improvement over last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, now, thanks to some of your late nights, we've got the template
Mm-hmm.
that we can use. So next year, that'll help streamline stuff and it looks good. So, I mean, it was awesome.
We are going to add a kids corner to Quell Mania 3 and let kids of all ages participate. I am going to pull those details out of the back of my head soon. I kind of have a working game plan of what I want to do, but I will be posting all of that information on the website and where to upload those videos. And if you are interested in being a speaker or a sponsor or an organizer to help Jennifer, like keep all this stuff together, then we are going to create a page on the website with all the links of how you could help or participate or whatever it is that you want to do for Quail Mania 3. Because I envision the way it's going right now that it might go into 3 days. I will not go past 3 days. 3 days will be the cutoff.
So, personally, I would like to see in the near Quail Mania future, maybe something like in person.
No.
Well, I know you don't like people, and I know you don't do public, and I know you don't like to leave home,
No.
but like, I don't know, I think it'd be kind of neat.
No.
Look, y'all,
I think
she's saying no, but if
no.
we get enough requests from our listeners, we might be able to get, if we can promise her the beach, we might can get Jennifer out of Bell Buckle, Tennessee.
No. Do you realize that I have not left Bell Buckle, Tennessee since 2019?
That's what I'm saying. And I know at some point in time in your life, you love the beach. So if we do it at the beach,
Mm-mm.
that, guys, listen, that
Mm-mm.
is Jennifer at poultrynerds.com or info@poultrynerds.com. And just tell her, we want to shake your hand.
Mm.
Yeah.
They have to come to Bell Buckle.
I'm not sure that Main Street is a big enough venue for 1,300 people.
No. But
hey, we could get that cafe to cater it and we'd have good food.
They like me. I want to keep it that way. So today, before we go into today, we do have to thank all of our sponsors one more time. We have Valley Hatchery and Hatchin' Time and Parcel Path. If y'all aren't familiar with Parcel Path, that is a shipping platform. It's free. Of course, I think everybody knows Hatchin' Time and how great their incubators are. And then Valley Hatchery is, it's Valley Hatchery. It's a big hatchery and it's a sponsor of the podcast. And you can see them at valleyhatchery.com.
I was going to say, they make their website simple. It's Valley Hatchery.
Yeah. And you can use coupon code Quail Mania for 10% off. I do not know at this particular moment how long that coupon code is good for, but try it and see what happens.
Yeah, the person said that, they were just going to leave it out there.
Oh, okay.
Didn't say how long, nothing.
Hopefully it's still working.
To me, it's like, I dare you to order some chicks or hatching eggs or anything else that they have. So
they sell all kinds of breeds. I think I'm seeing almost 200 breeds on their website. Last time I looked, but they do have availability for Cornish because I got that email the other day on their availability. But kind of leads us into our topic today of rooster health. We're going to talk about the male birds and how we can, make them feel a little special instead of just checking on the ladies every day.
Valley sells guinea keats.
No, we don't need any
guineas. I feel confident you want some of those.
No, I've had guineas twice. Did you know that?
I did.
Did you know?
I think David might kill you.
Yeah, I think that might be a breaking point. I think you'd rather see an emu than a guinea keat.
There you go. There's how you get your emu.
So the first time we had guineas was in the house before this one, and they would fly over the fence, and then they would run back and forth screaming, trying to figure out how to get back. And you'd have to go over there with a fishing net and get them, and you just fling them over the fence.
Yeah, because they didn't want you to touch them.
No, you can't touch them. They have very, very sharp nails. And so I sold them all, got rid of them. Well, actually, we ate them. And then we got rid of all of those. And they don't taste good, and I don't recommend it.
I was going to say, do they taste like chicken?
No, they taste like greasy, what I imagine possum to taste. I don't know, but you know what? The kids were younger then, like young adults, and they were poor, and so I filled up all the crock pots with a bunch of barbecue sauce, and they thought it was full chicken, and they were all happy.
Nice.
I know, right? And so then
You
we
can use a
just, you know,
crock pot to cover up anything.
yeah, yeah. Enough barbecue sauce works too, but guineas, it's greasy meat. It's very, very dark. It's
Really?
yeah, and it's greasy. So
Okay.
it's not for me, and it has an aftertaste. Don't know exactly how to describe it. But
That
then we
makes
got
it
them
even
again.
worse.
Yep, we got them again when we lived here, and this time I had whites and lavenders and chocolates, and they're super cool looking. But I had reduced them because they were being mean to my chickens, and so I kept reducing my guinea flock. Is it a flock? I guess it is a guinea flock. And I only had, I think, 6 left. I actually had learned how to sex them and everything, which nobody, I think, can actually do it 100%. But I had figured it out pretty good. And I had them in one of the condos on the far side of the barn. And we were sitting on the deck, and we were actually eating breakfast. And they were screaming so loud that David just looked at me and he said, "I'm done." That's all he said. And I was like, "Oh." So I sold them. They're just so loud. But funny story before we actually get into our topic. They had been I know, right? They had been in the condo for a while, and I realized, I hadn't really cleaned that condo. I need to go in there, and I got my pitchfork and I went in there all ready to clean it and everything, and it was clean. So I'm standing there bewildered. Like, what is going on? Who's cleaning? I don't know who's cleaning. We have like little leprechauns or something cleaning
I was gonna
behind us.
say, now if they'll
It's
clean
awesome.
coops out and stuff, that
Yeah.
might be interesting enough to find out a way to make them stop screaming.
So they were all up on the roost, and of course they were mad because I was looking at them. And I mean, they get mad if the wind blows. I mean, they scream about everything. And I'm standing there and I'm looking at them, and of course one of them drops a load off of the roost, right? Guess what happens next?
What?
They all flew down to the ground and fought over who got to eat it. That's why my condo was so clean. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can see it. I'm done now too. I don't want to eat
That's
that now.
crazy. Okay.
So yeah, I don't see us getting guineas again. But to be honest with you, I'm gonna tell you the ducks are much better at cleaning up the bugs on the property than the guineas ever were.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And the ducks, like when I've been by there, I do hear them quacking,
Mm-hmm.
and they're
Oh, they're
not
laughing
as
at your
loud as the
jokes.
guineas,
Mm-hmm.
but they'll let you know if something comes up.
Mm-hmm. They laugh at all your jokes. They're always
Mhm.
happy. They come up to you. I mean, ducks are friendly. Guineas want to tear your arm off. Most of the scars on my arms are from guineas and turkeys, and the turkeys it was an accident, not the guineas.
Yeah.
But no, the ducks, because they can clean all the mosquito larvae out of the pond,
I was gonna
and
say
then
they
they
get the
just go.
mosquitoes out of the pond and out of the ground.
Yeah, and they just go across the entire property. I mean, you've seen them. They walk all over the place, and they're just constantly digging in the dirt, eating everything. If they would just eat anthills, if we can find the bird that eats the anthills, we would have gold.
Well, I mean, you could get an anteater.
No, I don't think so. I've heard grouse eat ants. I need to look into that more. I don't really know anything about grouse.
Get you a chupacabra.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't even think it's real. I think it's like a snipe, but still, you can get one.
Oh, I thought snipes aren't real either.
Well, I know you don't go hunting them in the middle of the night with a sack.
No, no, I don't really hunt any all the night. Okay,
So
so let's actually talk about our topic.
yeah,
So
roosters.
roosters, which some people hate that term. I don't know why. Everybody knows what it is, and that's the word you have to use on social media because it doesn't flag anything. But if you want to do your proper terminology, it would be a cockbird or a cockerel if we're talking about chickens. Turkeys would be Jakes and Toms. Ducks would be Drakes. Geese would be Ganders.
So
Quail
yeah,
would be
I always
choice
wondered
bears.
what was meant by what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Keep the wife happy, dude.
Been working in my house for 22 almost years, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So the males are, let's just talk about chickens for right now because it just is easier. But they're usually the prettier ones, right? Kind of like the blue jays flying around are always prettier than the female blue jays. That's the same in I guess all of the bird world, right?
hmm
The males are showier. They gotta
They got the big
create,
comb and wattles, and
they gotta be big.
they make all that noise.
I don't know. I've got some girls that can chatter pretty loud, but yes, you're right. So we tend to look at them as if they were really pretty and just assume they're doing their job, but that isn't necessarily always the case. There's a lot of reasons why a male won't be doing his job efficiently or well, really at all. And one of the big things is their health, being fat or their feet hurt.
hmm
And so if he's not doing his job and he's kind of lethargic, check his feet because I mean when your feet hurt, you don't really want to do anything. Right? I mean,
Much less to climb around on a bunch of chickens.
yeah, exactly. So you got to make sure that they have good nutrition. I know we harp on that, and it seems like on social media we have to harp on that, but if you don't feel well, you're not going to perform well, and that translate into the bird world at the same time. So
But
you got
yeah, I
to eat
mean,
well.
obviously they're not going to, prance around your yard and cock-a-doodle-doo like they should. They're not going to give you high hatchability rates. Um, you know,
So this is going to be more your avenue here. So we see people talking about they don't feed their birds layer because they have a rooster in their flock. So I do it and I don't have any trouble, but tell us the scientific part of that.
okay, so can 3.5% calcium versus 1.5, and I'm using rough numbers between layer and non-layer, kill a rooster? Possibly 8, 10, 12 years down the road, maybe. But it also depends on your feed. And what I mean by that is, so with mine, like, if y'all don't know, I make feed. I have a feed company. It is what it is. With mine, I use in my breeder layer ration, I have all the vitamins and minerals and stuff where they need to be. But actual calcium that's in it is 1.5%. But to get the total calcium, like what you're looking for on the feed tag, to that 3.5 that the hens really need, put crushed oyster shell in the feed. And the roosters will pick around it if they don't need it. So that's another benefit to feeding a coarse mash or something along those lines, as opposed to just a solid pellet, because it don't matter how they get the 3.5% protein in a solid pellet. The rooster can't not eat the protein or not eat the pellet with the calcium. So don't really have a choice. But when the calcium in the feed is one thing, and there's oyster shells in there to raise it up to the 3.5 to make it where the layers need it to support their bone function and their eggshells. You put oyster shells in, but again, we're talking about a very long period. There's influencers out there saying that they've had birds die from it that were like 1 or 2 years old. Do you know what a necropsy is, and did you do one? Like, what are you basing that off of? And that's probably one of mine and Jennifer's biggest pet peeves, is all the misinformation that there is floating around in all the different chicken groups. And that's why we try to educate folks as much as possible for free.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Okay.
Is it better to give your flock an oyster shell? Does that give the hen everything that she needs during breeding season?
So one of the things that I know is I've seen it, witnessed it, read about it in studies. Chickens are very, very intelligent and very, very stupid at the same time. A chicken knows what an oyster shell looks like and what it is and what they get out of it. Just like, you'll see people talking about their chickens or quail or whatever birds eating feathers. And, feed people that have studied nutrition, one of the first things they say is, what does a feed tag look like? Because they want to see it. Because if the methionine level is low, birds know they can eat feathers to get methionine. So they will. But, they don't know a lot of stuff, and they're stupid. It makes chickens do some really dumb stuff, but they do know what in nature they get what vitamins and minerals from, which is why when people have them that just like free roam all over the place, they can get away with feeding them corn because they get all their vitamins and minerals where they get it.
Okay, so if we've got somebody that's keeping them very confined, like one of those fancy coops that we see in the sand and the swings and all that stuff, would an all flock in an oyster shell be better, or does it really matter? Because are we trading the hen's health for the rooster's health? That's basically what I'm asking you.
I mean, not necessarily, because number one, as a breeder, you should always be trying to improve your flock, because nobody has the perfect bird. And if you have gotten to that point, why are you listening to our show? We need to be talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, when I'm looking at the birds that I grow out, I've got my king, my heir, and my king, my heir, and a spare for my roosters, for my breeding pens. And I'm always comparing them to my grow out. And if one of them is not as nice as one in my grow out, I've taken paint pens, all kinds of crap, and colored legs on chickens to, give me mental notes when I'm looking. If I grow out something better than my king, my heir, or my spare, somebody's getting upgraded and somebody's getting fired. So with that in mind, do you really need to keep the bird alive 10, 12, 15 years? Now, if you're to the point where you have gotten to that point and you're just listening to us for entertainment, then yeah, do it. Because it will extend the life. Too much calcium taxes their kidneys, like too much protein and too much of a lot of other stuff. It attacks their kidneys and their other internal organs and eventually cause them to have organ failure. So,
Okay, so for me, what I do, and you can feel free to critique it, but I mean, you basically know what I do. So during breeding season, right now, because I'm hatching and I want vigorous, healthy chicks,
where's
I
that?
use your layer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I use a layer feed during breeding season. Now my turkeys get pellets because they don't like the mash, but everybody else gets the mash stuff. And then they get layer during the entire season. But then when I stop incubating or they stop laying and are getting ready for molt or it's too hot or whatever, then I put them all back on off lock. So nobody stays on the same feed 365 days a year. Well, the quail do, but nobody else does.
I mean, the quail is just about lay 365 days.
Yeah.
Once some things
So,
start laying, they don't stop.
right. And so when we're talking about the chickens and stuff, we don't, do we need to leave them on layer feed when they're not laying?
I don't.
Okay.
I mean, a
So,
good breeder feed is expensive, more so
yeah.
than just a regular feed. So when it's like 1,000,000 degrees outside and they're not laying, you know, 4 to 5 eggs a day, I mean, a week, if you're lucky to get 1 or 2 because it's 1,000,000 degrees, then there's no sense in it. Some people, they feed layer feed every day of the
Mm-hmm.
year. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's your flock, your rules. But if they're not laying, their bodies aren't using the extra, which is one of the reasons why I'm fond of mine, because I am kind of partial. But the crushed oyster shells that's in it means if they don't need the extra calcium, they don't eat it. And what I do is I've got a couple of large breeding groups. And in those, when I start seeing a lot of those oyster shells left in the trough and less eggs in the nest box, I'm like, y'all are getting developer conditioner feed until y'all get back to work.
Okay, so you've brought up another point that I want to ask. So if you feed them layer, let's just say you leave them on layer through the molt and through the winter when there's no eggs, are
Mm-hmm.
you taxing the hens' kidneys with too much calcium?
Not as much as you are a rooster, because obviously roosters, they don't have the extra shell demand because
Mm-hmm.
they don't make them. But a hen is born with all she's ever going to have. And you have to support that. So, you know, does it build up a little extra in the calcium bank? Maybe. But out of all of the research things that I have read, they haven't done any studies on hens having too much calcium. So I don't really think that it's a thing, or somebody would have studied it by now,
Mm-hmm.
because some of the crap that I've seen studies on, I'm like, why are you studying that?
Well, the studies are going to be where the money is, and the money is in layer houses. They're going to be studying layer feed, right?
Right.
So, okay. So, so you obviously do the same thing I do. So,
Mm-hmm.
breeder feed, layer feed when we're breeding and laying and incubating, because the feed impacts the chick health directly.
Yeah.
Okay. If they
Yeah.
don't have enough nutrition, they might not even exit the egg during incubation. Okay. So there's that. And then during molt and hot, I mean, nobody eats a ton of food when they're super hot. So they don't need those extra calories and stuff, right? During the molt
So
and the heat.
during that time, it's best to feed them something with a lower energy, but it needs to be really rich in vitamins and all the necessities. because they're hot and miserable. So let's say you're outside, you yourself, and it's 100 degrees or 90 something degrees. At what point do you think, ooh, let me eat a sandwich? Not often, because you're hot, you're miserable. And, chickens are the same way. It's like, I've had people with layer flocks say, my layers aren't laying. What's changed? Nothing. Send me a picture. They'll have the water like out in the middle of the field, and all the chickens are over in the edge of the trees. And I'm like, move your water. Well, what's that got to do with it? They're not drinking enough water.
Mm-hmm.
And just like people, when you're hot and sweaty and you don't drink enough water, eventually you feel funny. So you definitely ain't going to lay an egg.
True.
So move the
Okay.
water in the shade to where it's where they are and it doesn't heat up as hot in the daytime. They'll drink more and they'll start laying.
Okay, so during the molt, and I have a reason where I have a direction of my question. So during the molt, when it's hot and it's the end of the season, they actually drop weight during the molt, right?
If you manage it properly.
Okay, so let's just say the chickens are out like mine, free ranging. They can eat whatever they want to and run 10 miles a day. Okay. So the course of the year, they're kind of huddled up in the winter time and they want all their feed like brought to them in bed, right? And then in spring, they start eating all the bugs and the fresh grass and the dirt and the rocks and the butterflies and whatever else they're eating. Right?
Yep.
And they're laying eggs and hatching babies and everything's good. So we're giving them layer feed.
Right.
And summer turns to August, which is just the devil's armpit here in Tennessee. And so you don't want to eat and you're hot and you don't want to lay eggs. And so we need to drop their calorie intake a little bit because first of all, they don't want to eat. So they're going to naturally drop some weight anyway, right? And then they're going to molt. But then they need to have. So where's that misconception that we got to put weight on them for the winter? Because that kind of goes against the natural cycle, right?
So when they molt and you're managing it properly, ideally, they will get back to a pullet weight or cockerel weight.
They've been packing it on all spring?
They've been packing it on ever since they got their feathers back and they, like you got your beak spot back and you're looking good and you kind of, that donut don't look like it's so bad anymore.
Winter weight.
Winter weight happens. Same with chickens. But when a rooster is fat or overweight, and the best way to get that is to get you a copy of the standard. See what they say the darn thing's supposed to weigh, because that's what it should weigh. And if your bird's fat and it's not, you're hatching and fertility sucks, well, it's probably because the bird's too fat and he can't do his job. That's why a proper molt that's managed helps, because it lets them get their weight back down to where it should be. And you support them through it because they're miserable. And then they come back and they look more beautiful and stuff. The colors are more vibrant. So it's a good thing. A properly managed molt where they do lose that weight helps with fertility. It helps with their overall health because, fat chickens waddling around will fall over instead of, even if you just have yard candy to make your yard look good, you still want good looking birds, not a bird that's waddling like a duck. If you want that, get some ducks.
Well, so you picked up where I was going. So a fat rooster doesn't want to mate any more than one that has bad feet.
Right. And when they do want to mate, the extra fat on their body prevents things from working and reaching where it needs to reach to do what it needs to do for the hen to lay a fertilized egg. I'll dance around that because we're a family-friendly show as easy as I can, but that's how it happens.
Well, and a fat hen is going to cause issues on that too.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to have good condition for everything to kind of work together.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about nutrition. We've talked about feet, which feet is a big thing. We need to keep them dry. We need to keep them healthy. We don't want to. One thing I see a lot of people do is put their roost too high, and then that's a lot of impact when they jump down and cause joint issues. So we want to make sure we don't damage them that way. I've got one out there right now. Now my roost in the condos are about waist high. About waist high or something.
Yeah, I think there's one that's about waist high, and some of them have one that's just a little bit more.
Yeah,
which is really great when you're trying to get turkeys.
Yeah,
because they hop up on the one that's waist high, and then you get closer and they hop up on the one that's chest high, and then you just reach out and grab them, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
So I have a male, it's a cockerel, and he apparently has slipped a tendon in one of his legs. And the only thing I can figure, and he's been in a condo, he's perfectly fine when I put him in there. And the only thing I can figure is he went up and hit something or hit the wall or something and fell off the roost. So don't make your roost so high that when they fall, that impact is too much, and make sure there's no rocks underneath of that either. So to bruise the bottom of their feet when they do land,
Yeah, because they can get bumblefoot from that.
Exactly. So we need to make sure that those are, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that. Let's see. We did underfeed. I'm going through my notes here.
Ideally, your roost will be anywhere from 18 to 24 inches off the ground. For a large fowl, is great. A lot of breeders will put them at waist high, which is not a lot more, because it's convenient for us. Because, me personally, I don't want to get down on the ground. I'll sit on a bucket, but if I want to look at my birds eye level, I would much rather them be about waist high, so I can just lean over like this. Be like, "Oh, your legs are straight. Your back has that perfect," and then you got your tail, or you're gonna look really good in the crock pot next week, because I'm not feeding you any longer.
You do need to pick up your birds, feel them, feel their keels, make sure they're straight. You don't want to breed that forward for sure. So people ask me what that means. If you have a rotisserie chicken from Publix or wherever you get your rotisseries from, the breastbone, so the breast meat's on either side. In the middle right there is the keel, right? And so when you pick up a bird, whichever hand you're in, that breast meat's in your hand. Right. And that bone right there should be straight. And when it's not straight, you will know. If it's straight, if you've never felt a crooked one, you probably don't know what we're talking about. But when you pick one up and it's crooked, you will know. You won't miss it.
Yeah.
So
because
check those.
Usually the crooked ones are also protruding. And, when you pick it up and the bird is pointing towards you, like if you hold your hand up and you look at it, the bird's pointing towards you, you can feel the keel in the hand. And if you feel it when you put your hand on the bird's back, you feel it more than you're feeling the breast, then you really need to check it out, because it might be too much and you don't want to breed that.
Let's see. Saddle, spur wear on the hens. So I am anti pulling spurs. I don't do it because it's kind of like pulling your fingernails off. I know people
No,
that
it's
do
exactly
take,
like pulling your fingernail. That's their fingernail.
yeah. I do not pull them off. I don't trim
Mm.
them. I don't do anything to them. Um, if I have a big boy that, in say one of my Orpingtons, and I need to breed him and his spurs are long, then I will do conjugal visits and the hens wear saddles. I realize that that's more of a specialty thing and not for just people who have birds in their backyard. But there are, I guess, other ways of keeping roosters with long spurs. It's not something that I come across very often, but you do need to be aware of the wear and tear on the hens with those. Um,
Yeah,
let's
just get you some more hens.
Okay, and then somebody asked me on this part of the outline here. Somebody asked me how to check fertility. That when I say I'm checking fertility, you can do a couple things. You can just when you're cracking your eggs for breakfast, look for the bullseye. It to me that didn't come easy. I really had to work at it to see that bullseye, but I don't have the best eyesight to begin with anyway. Um, but all I do is I just take a couple eggs from the pens and put them in the incubator and then candle them in a week. And if there's blood
That's the easiest
vessels,
way.
there's blood vessels. If a chick comes out, it was fertile.
Yep.
That's how I check fertility right there.
Yep. I'm doing that
And
right now. I do have some pullet eggs that are in the incubator, but that's only because I want to see the fertility. And those are already promised to somebody to feed something else when they hatch. So,
I can't believe you're testing pullet eggs.
well, it's kind of like they got put in with some hens, and right now I could tell the difference. So while they were still smaller, I figured, what the heck? I'll have a feeder for some snakes that's about the size of a 2-week-old quail when it hatches.
All right, let's talk about aggression for just a minute.
That's easy.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Just don't. There is 10 times, and I say this loosely, there's 10 times more males than there are females. If your ratio of male to female is 1 to 10, that would mean you have 10 times more extra males, right? So keep the one that's not aggressive and eat the rest of them. There's just too many to choose from to have to warrant dealing with an aggressive rooster. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and even if you breed for something different, even those folks, the ones that I come across, they don't want ones that are aggressive towards them.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do the same thing we do.
Yep.
Crockpots.
Just don't. I have dealt with some breeds before, and I could not get any that weren't aggressive, and I just don't deal with them anymore. Now I do have the breasts, and they are flightier than my Orpingtons. And when I say that they're flighty, people will say, well, mine aren't flighty. Well, then I got to thinking one day, I was like, wonder why their birds aren't flighty. And then I picked up one of my Orpingtons, and I realized that I'm comparing my breasts to the Orpingtons, which are just about on the scale of flighty, one level above dead. So
I mean, it's hard to
flighty
get
compared to
9
them.
pounds off the ground.
I mean, we moved
Just
some
saying.
yesterday, and they were just like, okay, where are we going? I mean, you could set them in the front seat of the Gator and drive all over town with. So, in the
You put a breast in the Gator with you on the front seat, and they'll ride for a little bit, but eventually they're going to be like, "Ooh, what is that?" You're going to take off.
But I can go in the pens and pick them up and they don't like freak out anymore or anything. I've been raising them with the Orpingtons and hoping that it would like rub off on them a little bit. But nobody's been really like aggressive per se. I did have one. I was moving him as a cockerel and he bit me like a dog. And I was like, dude, you totally changed which coop you were going to. He went in the coal pile. We just don't tolerate it. Anything that you're willing to tolerate is what you're going to have on the yard. So just don't tolerate it.
Yeah, when I first started working with breasts, I had one that was a little aggressive, and he accidentally wrung his neck before I realized it. But I didn't want it. I didn't want that part of the genetics, so it made it where I didn't get the rest. And now I have birds that I can go in the coop, and they're like, "What's up? You got some food? What we doing today?" You know, they don't go nuts, and they don't try to attack me.
I did want to say one thing that was kind of brought up to me by somebody with the incubation masterclass. And she said, well, the very first video you said it has to be in a warmish room, and I don't have mine in a warmish room. And so it got me thinking, like, what did I really mean to say? And so in general, when we're talking about these things, we're trying to portray like a more ideal situation. And then there'll be compensations that people make for their environment or their budget or their needs or abilities. And so if we give out information, we're trying to do it like in an ideal world, this is what you would do. And we understand that we don't live in an ideal world, and your incubator may not be as good as the $1 million one at the hatchery, or you might have it in your basement, which stays in the 50s versus in your house, which stays in the 70s. I mean, there's compensations all over the world, but if we give you the correct information, like this is the goal, then at least you know where you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
And so by talking about these roosters or cockbirds or cockerels, whatever you want to call them, this is in an ideal world. So yes, there is some truth to calcium can be hard on the birds, but it takes years and years and years for that to happen. And you don't feed them layer year round. I mean, it's just, you just really shouldn't. I mean, I guess you can, but you shouldn't.
Well, and that's okay why for me, I say it, and a lot of people, I'm going to say this first, Carrie at PoultryNerdsPodcast.com.
Not Jennifer.
All right. If that happens, just like coccidiosis and some other things, it's more of a management issue than an environment issue. I'll say that because if you have a bird in captivity, any kind of a pen, no matter how big it is, that bird has no control over its diet. So it's a management issue, not a bird issue. Manage your flock.
Yeah. And do the best you can. We give you the accurate information and just get as close to that as you can.
And look, not everybody can do that, and that's cool.
I mean,
I don't know. I did have one chicken that was 13 years old, but I don't know that I really care a whole lot about having chickens that old. I don't need teenager chickens.
I have two. We call her Cricky. She has cricket toes. But we would never tell you to breed cricket toes. And I don't breed her. She's a hatchery quality bird. But...
I mean, I have Rambo. And Rambo free ranges because I don't want him in a breeding pen.
Mm-hmm.
And that son of a gun has survived some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He earned his name.
Yep. All right. Well, we hope this was helpful. Go feed your chickens and don't sweat it.
Take that bucket that you take with you to feed them in. When it's empty, what that really means is turn it upside down, sit on it, enjoy your cup of coffee, and watch them.
Mm-hmm.